My name is Ethan Vance, and for the first time in what felt like forever, the relentless tide of deadlines and demands from work had finally receded. The endless spreadsheets, the cascading emails, the insistent pings of instant messages, all silenced, at least for a glorious stretch of days. I was embarking on something I'd only dared to dream of amidst the daily grind. A solo trip. Switzerland, to be precise. The majestic Alps, the serene lakes, the quaint villages. It was the perfect antidote to the concrete jungle I navigated daily. The Zurich train station bustled with the excited energy of travelers, a symphony of rolling suitcases and multilingual chatter. My backpack felt light on my shoulders, a tangible symbol of the burdens I was shedding. As I located my platform for the scenic Golden Pass Line train to Interlaken, a thrill of anticipation coursed through me. This was it, freedom on rails. Stepping onto the train car, I scanned for an open seat. Ah, jackpot! In the corner, nestled against the panoramic window, were two empty seats. The perfect sanctuary. The true joy of solo travel, I believed, was the unadulterated pleasure of observing the world unfold without the distraction of conversation, without the need to compromise on viewpoints or itineraries. And here luck was truly on my side. Not just a window seat, but an entire untouched row. Serenity, I mused, would be my companion. Puss puss. A persistent, rhythmic whispering pulled me from my reverie. Irritation flickered within me. Peace, it seemed, was a more elusive travel companion than I'd anticipated. From the corner of my eye, across the aisle, I spotted the source. A child, bouncing in their seat, eyes wide with the infectious excitement that only a journey can ignite. A miniature explorer, ready to conquer new landscapes. Honestly, a child's travel enthusiasm was a pleasant sound. It was part of the ambient symphony of a journey, adding to the overall vibrancy. Not like disruptive noise, but a soft, joyous hum. However, not disruptive noise was the operative phrase. They couldn't get too rowdy. Goodness, what was wrong with this kid? Why such a sudden, sharp yelp? It's your turn, Papa. Papa? My ears perked up. That voice, was it familiar? Papa? It sounded almost like impossible. Don't be ridiculous, Ethan. There's no conceivable way she would be here, on this train, of all places. Ethan? Ethan Vance? Is that really you? My blood ran cold. That voice. I slowly turned, my heart hammering against my ribs, and locked eyes with the last person on earth I expected, or perhaps wanted, to see on my hard-earned solo vacation. Seraphina? I stammered, the name feeling foreign on my tongue outside the sterile confines of the office. Seraphina Dubois? Well, what are you doing here? My supervisor. My boss. Seraphina Dubois. And seated next to her, the source of the earlier Papa confusion, was her daughter, Lily. My carefully constructed bubble of tranquility popped like a rogue balloon. This was bad. Very, very bad. My immediate instinct was to flee. Seat change. Escape route. Now. Oh, excuse me, I mumbled, attempting to stand and gather my backpack. I should probably move. Look for another seat. I scanned the train car, my hopes dwindling with each occupied row. Full. Of course. It was peak travel season. The train, predictably, was completely packed. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Applause trained to discomfort, I muttered under my breath. Trying to sit somewhere else, Ethan? Seraphina's voice, usually crisp and authoritative in meetings, now held a subtle, almost amused edge. Don't be silly. She stood, a graceful, imposing figure even in casual travel attire. Her dark hair, usually pulled back in a severe bun, was loose, framing a face that, away from the harsh fluorescent lights of the office, held a surprising softness. But those ice-blue eyes, those were unmistakable, and undeniably fixed on me. Okay, fine. I conceded, sinking back into my seat, defeat settling in like a lead weight. This is... Seraphina Dubois. I corrected myself internally. She's my supervisor at work, and excuse me, Seraphina, I am going to take the seat next to you. It came out as a pathetic, mumbled statement, not a question. She merely raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. You don't need my permission, Ethan. You are free to sit wherever you want. Although, she added, a hint of steel returning to her voice, common sense dictates this is the only available seating. And someone who probably hates me. Again, no good. This was truly monumentally no good. So, Seraphina began, settling into the window seat with Lily nestled beside her. About that project proposal you created for the game. Yes, Ethan. How was it? The question hung in the air, laced with a familiar, dreaded tone. Oh, the game proposal. The one I'd poured my heart and soul into, sacrificing sleep and sanity to perfect. The one I'd actually felt proud of. Foolish, naive pride. Oh, how was it? I thought I did a pretty good job on it. I ventured, my voice wavering slightly despite my best efforts at nonchalance. Seraphina's lips curved into a thin, decidedly unamused line. It's not good at all, Ethan. Start over. Just like that. Start over. My carefully constructed edifice of confidence crumbled to dust in a single, dismissive sentence. What? The word escaped before I could stop it. A weak protest against the inevitable. What do you mean by what? Don't question it, Ethan. The plot, the story, the character goals, all over the place. It's incoherent. Incoherent. That was Seraphina Dubois's professional assessment of my creative magnum opus. Let me rewind for a moment. I was hired at Dubois Gaming, a relatively small but ambitious company, a few years ago, fresh out of middle school. A point Seraphina never let me forget, subtly or otherwise. Gaming, stories, world building. These were passions I'd nurtured since childhood. Dubois Gaming was my dream come true, a portal into the world I'd only ever imagined. I lacked formal training, experience, practical knowledge, everything but raw, unadulterated enthusiasm. And I was so grateful, so determined, that I threw myself into the work with a frantic energy, driven by a desperate need to prove myself. Yes, ample passion to compensate for my considerable lack of ability. I was acutely aware of my shortcomings. And Seraphina Dubois, my direct supervisor, was the chaperone, the mentor, more accurately, the scolder-in-chief, the designated human tasked with reining in my chaotic energy and misguided creativity. In your particular scenario, she critiqued during one memorable, soul-crushing review. I can clearly tell you were committed to your particular tastes. But in this industry, Ethan, your own personal favorites aren't going to sell. Seraphina Dubois. Honestly, my professional memories of her were almost entirely composed of her voice, sharp and precise, dissecting my work with surgical precision. Scaldine, renante critique. I didn't mind, not really. I knew I was green, inexperienced, a walking, talking embodiment of needs improvement. Scolding was probably justified, expected even, but even so, there was always this pervasive feeling that she was constantly glaring, judging, dismissing. And right now, on this train, heading to my supposed vacation, the glare was back. I could feel the icy disapproval emanating from the seat beside me. She didn't need to do that now, right? We weren't at work. Vacation. Glaring seemed excessive. Hey, Ethan Vance, Seraphina said, breaking the tense silence. Yeah, I answered cautiously, bracing myself for another round of proposal deconstruction. Are you going to Interlaken too? Interlaken. Yes. My destination. B-Town, as the locals apparently called it. My escape. Yeah, I confirmed. But oh, a dawning realization. We're going to the same place then. It would appear so, she stated, with an unnerving lack of surprise. Oh, another wave of panic washed over me. No, no, no. I can't intrude. Like that. I stammered, desperately searching for a polite, non-offensive escape route. But escape, as I'd already discovered, seemed impossible on this packed train. Yeah, I'm scared. I admitted more to myself than to her. And then, to make matters infinitely worse, I registered the full force of her glare. It was more intense, more pointed, more threatening than any office glare I'd ever endured. In my head, I could practically hear her icy voice. You know what's going to happen if you don't say no, right? It's fine. I rushed out, desperate to diffuse the situation. Please don't worry. I'll turn her down. Nicely. Nicely. To whom was I even speaking? Myself? Seraphina? The menacing glare? Guys, I began, forcing a strained smile that probably resembled a grimace. I appreciate the thought, but, I can't intrude on a trip that you're enjoying with your family. Family. Seraphina's voice was dangerously low. And what? Lily interjected, tilting her head with childlike curiosity. But you're like family to Lily, right, Mommy? Silence. A heavy, pregnant silence that stretched on for what felt like an eternity. Mommy, is that so? Lily persisted, her innocent eyes fixed on Seraphina. Not all, Lily. Don't be ridiculous, Seraphina snapped, her cheeks flushing a faint pink. What did this girl just say? She muttered, mostly to herself, but loud enough for me to hear. Come on, Ethan, I thought, trying to salvage the situation. I mean, I understood in a way. Lily Chan was surprisingly fond of me, to the point where she sometimes, well, if only you were my daddy, Ethan Vance, she declared on more than one occasion. The reason, I surmised, was due Boyce Gaming's somewhat unusual policy of encouraging employees to bring their children to work. Seraphina, a single mother, often brought Lily with her, and I, in my desperate attempts to be liked by someone at the office, had become Lily's designated playmate. Ethan Vance, you don't want to travel with Lily? Seraphina's voice cut through my internal musings, sharp and demanding. Of course not. I protested, perhaps a little too vehemently. That's not at all. I have a lot of fun playing with you, Lily Chan. You know that. Then you don't want to be with my mommy? Lily's childlike logic was relentless, bordering on terrifying. You're asking lots of insane questions, aren't you, kid? I thought, struggling to keep a smile plastered on my face. Lily's wide, innocent eyes suddenly seemed intensely scrutinizing. The Dubois daughter's gaze, in that moment, was the scariest thing I'd encountered all week. Come on, Lily pressed, her voice taking on a determined edge. How am I supposed to answer this question? I internally wailed. I stalled, desperately searching for a response that wouldn't result in professional or possibly actual physical annihilation. Don't tell me that you actually don't want to be with my mommy. Lily's voice rose in pitch, bordering on a threat. In that case, I'll make sure to talk to her. I'll tell her to work hardest so that you can like her. No, you don't need to do that. Panic seized me. If I make Lily Chan say that, I thought, envisioning the aftermath, I am clearly going to get sunk to the bottom of Lake Geneva. Besides, I rushed on, trying to sound as enthusiastic as humanly possible. It's not that I don't want to be with you both. In fact, I'd probably be really happy if I got to accompany you on this trip. After all, I've never disliked Nagumo-san. Not even once. A blatant lie, but a necessary one, I reasoned. But I continued, attempting to salvage some semblance of my solo trip. We can't do that, you know. Even if we're going to the same place, the locations we're planning to visit and the hotels we're going to stay at are probably different. Let's just enjoy our vacations separately. Okay. Desperate plea masked as a reasonable suggestion. What? Oh, I'm sorry, Lily Chan, I added lamely, feeling like the world's biggest disappointment to a 7-year-old. But thank God, Lily exclaimed, completely missing the melancholic tone in my voice. I don't know what I'd do if you actually hated my mommy. Don't worry about that, I assured her, forcing another smile. It's not like that at all. Oh, mommy's always talking about how she loves you at home, Ethan Vance. Lily chirped, her voice ringing with childlike glee. To your Chan, right, Mommy? She'd be heartbroken if you hated her. Lily's words hung in the air, echoing in the sudden, stunned silence. What? I croaked, my mind reeling, trying to process the sheer impossibility of what I'd just heard. Hold on a second. Well, what did she just say? Did Lily Chan just say that Seraphina Dubois likes me? Likes me? As in likes me? Impossible. Utterly, ridiculously, laughably impossible. Lily, sweetie, Seraphina hissed, her face now a vibrant shade of crimson. Didn't I tell you to never talk about that? You told me not to talk about that at your work? Lily corrected, with the meticulous precision only a child can muster. But we're not at your work right now, Mommy. So it's fine, right? What does that mean? I stammered, my brain struggling to catch up with this bizarre turn of events. What, how about you say that again, Lily-chan? You like me? I clarified, desperately seeking some clarification, any clarification from this whirlwind of confusion. Who likes whom? Seraphina interjected sharply, her voice laced with an edge of panic. Excuse you, Ethan. Who knows? Of course it's you, Mommy. You like Ethan Vance, so that Lily trailed off, searching for the right words. Apparently yeah, like you're like full of flaws. Full of flaws? Was that Lily-chan's interpretation of affection? Like full of flaws. Lily elaborated, with the unwavering conviction of a 7-year-old expert on romantic nuances. Yeah, you always mess up whenever you're at work, and you always miss out on the important points, right? That's what I was talking about. To an elementary schooler, apparently, full of flaws was the ultimate term of endearment. Yes, I managed, completely bewildered, to an elementary schooler. Seraphina glared at Lily, a silent, parental reprimand. I feel like you're clearly complaining to the wrong person, Lily, she muttered under her breath. Shut up, Mommy, Lily retorted, equally softly, but with surprising firmness. Who cares? It clearly seems like she's only making excuses. But either way, it's less believable than Nagumo-san actually has a crush on me anyway. Even Lily-chan, in her flawed logic way, seemed to grasp the sheer absurdity of the situation. Well, I stammered, attempting to regain some semblance of composure. I'm sure Lily-chan clearly misunderstood things. Because do you need anything else, Seraphina? I directed the question pointedly at my boss, hoping to steer the conversation back to something resembling professional normalcy. No, she stated flatly, her gaze averted, fixed firmly on the passing Swiss landscape. Nothing else, Ethan. There's no way, I thought, staring at her rigid profile. You look at the person you like with those eyes. No way. 1 hour later, the train pulled into Interlaken station. Ethan Vance, Seraphina said, rising smoothly from her seat, Lily already bouncing with impatience at her side. Are you really not going to come with us? Yep. I confirmed, perhaps a bit too quickly. You go and enjoy your trip with your mom, Lily-chan. Okay, fine. Lily sighed dramatically, clearly disappointed by my lack of romantic enthusiasm. I'll excuse myself here then, Ethan, Seraphina said, her tone clipped, professional. Yes, I echoed, I apologize. It was your day off, but I made you feel uncomfortable, didn't I? Self-deprecating, perhaps, but also genuinely concerned. What? Seraphina's brow furrowed in a way that, dare I say, almost bordered on confusion. You couldn't relax peacefully if your supervisor was sitting in the seat next to you, right, Ethan? Oh, no, I didn't. Don't worry, I stammered, backtracking immediately. It won't interrupt your trip any longer. All right then, let's go, Lily, Seraphina said, taking her daughter's hand. Okay, bye-bye, Ethan Vance, Lily chirped, waving enthusiastically. Bye, Lily-chan, I responded, a small, genuine smile finally gracing my lips. Bye, Seraphina. Goodbye, Ethan, Seraphina replied, her tone cool, composed, completely betraying nothing of the emotional roller coaster Lily's earlier pronouncements had triggered. They disappeared into the throng of disembarking passengers, leaving me alone in the relative quiet of the emptying train car. Well, I murmured to myself, pushing aside the lingering confusion and faint, almost impossible hope. Now there's a possibility that she actually likes me. The thought felt ludicrous, preposterous, and yet, Lily-chan's words, Lily-chan's certainty. But if that's true, I continued, arguing with myself, why does she act like she hates me so much? The cold glares, the relentless critiques, the dismissive pronouncements, none of it aligned with any notion of affection, hidden or otherwise. Shaking my head, I hoisted my backpack again, determined to reclaim my solo trip, to banish the confusing Dubois duo from my thoughts. Vacation, serenity, mountains. Yes, that was the plan. The following morning, the plan, predictably, derailed spectacularly. As I descended to the hotel lobby, ready to embark on a day of independent exploration. I froze. Standing near the concierge desk, bathed in the morning sunlight streaming through the large windows, were Seraphina and Lily. "So," Seraphina said, her voice coolly polite, "why are you conveniently in the lobby at the same time that we were planning to leave?" "Conveniently?" I echoed, feeling a fresh wave of bewilderment wash over me. "Seraphina, good morning," I added, belatedly remembering basic politeness. "Good morning, Ethan Vance," she replied, her tone still decidedly guarded. "Come on, Mommy. You have to say good morning, too." Lily piped up, tugging at Seraphina's hand. Seraphina sighed, a barely audible exhalation, and then, with a resigned expression, turned to me. "Good morning, Ethan Vance." "Good morning, Seraphina Dubois," I replied, a small smile playing on my lips despite myself. Yay! Mommy got to hear Ethan Vance's real good morning voice. Lily cheered, clapping her hands with delight. "Real good morning voice?" I questioned, raising an eyebrow at Lily, then at Seraphina, who remained stoically impassive. "Yeah," Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Mommy's alarm is a voice recording of you saying good morning." Silence. A beat. 2 beats. The lobby clock ticked loudly in the sudden vacuum of conversation. "I recorded it," Seraphina finally said, her cheeks faintly flushed again, "to make sure you were greeting everyone properly in the morning. There's no other reason for it, Ethan." She rushed the last sentence out, avoiding eye contact. She's making up excuses before I even asked her about it, I thought, amused and utterly perplexed. "All right," Seraphina announced, decisively changing the subject. "Let's get going then, Lily." She turned to me again. "Ethan Vance, you're coming with us too, right?" "Oh, I began, hedging, unsure of what exactly was happening, but feeling a strange reluctance to refuse outright. "Don't mind my daughter," Seraphina continued, her voice regaining its professional crispness. "You can go wherever you want to go, Ethan." You're not coming with us?" Lily interjected, her lower lip starting to quiver. I blurted out, before logic or reason could intervene. "All right, let's go together, Lily-chan," I declared, forcing an enthusiasm I didn't entirely feel, but sensed was expected. "Yay!" Lily shrieked, jumping up and down. "Hooray! Why didn't you say no, Ethan?" Seraphina muttered, her voice barely audible above Lily's joyous squeals. "There's no reason to," I replied, honestly, if still bewildered. The only reason I'd initially resisted joining them, I realized, was the ingrained assumption that Seraphina Dubois actively disliked me. But now, thanks to Lily-chan's persistent revelations, that assumption felt shaky, unreliable. In fact, there was now a distinct, albeit improbable, possibility that she actually liked me, or at least didn't hate me, which, for Seraphina Dubois, felt like a significant step forward. "So," Seraphina said, as we stepped out into the crisp morning air, "I'm warning you beforehand, Ethan. It's not going to be fun sightseeing with me." "Oh," I challenged, a small smile playing on my lips. "Very cocky of you, Seraphina Dubois, to assume you know what I find fun." That day, against all odds and expectations, I found myself enjoying my Kyoto trip with Seraphina Dubois and her daughter. "Wow, Ethan Vance, look, it's such a pretty view," Lily exclaimed, pointing at the breathtaking vista unfolding before us at the Harder Calm viewpoint. "It is," I agreed, genuinely impressed by the panoramic sweep of Interlaken, nestled between 2 turquoise lakes, framed by the majestic peaks of the Jungfrau region. A few hours into our impromptu sightseeing adventure, Lily-chan looked happy. Actually, more than happy, radiant. No matter where we went, no matter what we saw, she seemed to absorb the world with an unbridled joy that was infectious. Somehow, in her innocent enthusiasm, it almost felt as if I actually had a daughter. Seraphina, on the other hand, was present, physically. She trailed a few paces behind us, a solitary figure amidst the vibrant scenery, a silent observer of Lily's effervescent delight and my surprisingly enjoyable company. She wouldn't volunteer suggestions for places to visit, wouldn't offer commentary on the views, wouldn't engage. Honestly, it didn't seem like she was having any fun at all. Mommy, Mommy, Lily called, skipping ahead, then turning back to us, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Huh? You don't need to hold hands with Ethan Vance, Mommy. Seraphina's face flushed again, a now familiar shade of rose. Lily, I am not going to hold Ethan Vance's hand. Don't be ridiculous. It's true that we have a molding of Ethan Vance's hand at home, Lily continued undeterred. Lily! Seraphina's voice was sharper now, bordering on exasperated. But still, Lily persisted, completely oblivious to her mother's rising panic. That molding doesn't express Mommy's desire to hold Ethan Vance's hand. It's just Mommy's responsibility as his supervisor to prepare a keyboard and mouse that perfectly fits the size of his hand. A beat of silence. Then Lily added, almost as an afterthought, You have a mold of my hand? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I do, Seraphina admitted, her gaze fixed on some distant point on the horizon, refusing to meet my eyes. She's not even trying to hide it. I thought, a mixture of amusement and utter disbelief washing over me. And is even exposing things herself. Mommy gets super specific when it comes to the things that she likes, Lily volunteered, nodding sagely. Yes, that is true, Seraphina conceded, her voice strained. More importantly, Ethan, I'm only doing all of this for work. It is not because I like Ethan Vance or anything like that. Okay. The okay was tacked on as an afterthought, more a plea than a genuine question. Okay, I replied, because what else could I say? But inside, a slow-burning realization was igniting. I feel like it's a little more than like at this point, I mused, watching Seraphina's stiff, almost comical, attempts to maintain her professional facade. Everything she was doing was close to borderline obsessive. I mean, it's fine by me, I added mentally, a flicker of something warm and hopeful stirring within me. Hey, Ethan Vance, Seraphina said, her voice suddenly regaining its usual crispness. Let's start heading to the next place now. Come on, Lily. Sure, I replied. Let's go, Seraphina Dubois. Seraphina Dubois. I repeated, trying out the sound of her name in a slightly different tone, a softer, less formal register. Huh? Oh. We're going right? Got it. Seraphina stammered, startled out of her distant contemplation. Ethan Vance. What's wrong? Lily asked, noticing my amused expression. It's nothing, Lily-chan, I assured her, ruffling her hair. Hey, Lily-chan, I suggested, a sudden idea sparking in my mind. Should we see a little more around this area? Seraphina? I turned to my boss, feigning polite inquiry. Why? Seraphina asked, her brow furrowing in suspicion. I'm sorry. There's actually something else I want to see. Really? You should then. Ethan Vance, Seraphina replied, a hint of resignation creeping into her voice. Lily-chan, she continued, addressing her daughter. Ethan Vance is going to take Lily-chan and stroll around the area a little more. If there's anything you want to see, please feel free to. I'm thankful for that, Ethan, she finished, her tone still formal, but now laced with an undercurrent of something. Relief? Resignation? Something indecipherable. But wouldn't it be a bother to leave Lily-chan to you, Ethan Vance? Seraphina questioned, her voice tinged with a faint, almost imperceptible, worry. Not at all, I assured her, with genuine enthusiasm. It's more fun being with Lily-chan than being alone, too. Okay, Seraphina agreed, her voice softening slightly, almost imperceptibly. In that case, I'll leave her with you for a little bit. Come on, Lily, let's go. Seraphina turned and started to walk away, then paused, glancing back at me, a flicker of something in her ice-blue eyes. Then, she was gone, disappearing into the crowd, leaving me alone with Lily-chan, and a bewildering array of conflicting emotions and improbable possibilities. Come on, Lily-chan, I said, taking her hand. Let's go. What do you want to see? I'll take you there. Hey, don't run off on your own. Ethan Vance? Lily giggled, trying to keep pace with my suddenly energized stride. I'm so tired from walking around so much, Lily complained, after a delightful hour of exploring Interlaken with her. We did walk around for over an hour, Lily-chan, I conceded, smiling. Let's buy a drink later on, okay? Okay, Lily agreed, her energy instantly renewed by the promise of refreshments. I think Mommy might be tired of waiting, Lily added, suddenly thoughtful. She might be lonely because we left her alone the entire time. She'll be fine, Lily-chan, I assured her, perhaps a bit too quickly, too dismissively. Yeah, Lily agreed, unconvinced but accepting. She's probably not tired of waiting. Yes. Yep. A sudden thought struck me. This might work too. I mused aloud. I might be able to use it as the setting for the project we're planning right now. The game proposal, momentarily forgotten in the whirlwind of train journeys and unexpected boss encounters, resurfaced in my mind. She's probably very focused right now, Lily-chan observed, sagely, that she's forgetting all about the time. Mommy, we're back, Lily announced as we returned to the spot where we'd left Seraphina. Seraphina looked up from her phone, a distracted expression on her face. Oh, you're back already? So, how is it, Lily? Uh-huh. Your reference data? Did you gather enough? Lily prompted, mimicking Seraphina's usual work-related interrogations. Yes, I chimed in, playing along. After all, this is one of the sacred places that is used as a setting for many games and animes. There must have been a million places she wanted to look around. Seraphina's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise, and something else? Recognition? That means you went out of your way to be considerate then. Ethan Vance? She asked, her voice softer now, less guarded. Is that a bad thing, Seraphina Dubois? I challenged, meeting her gaze directly for the first time since this bizarre vacation began. It is, she stated firmly, but without the usual harshness. I was holding back, Ethan, because I didn't want you to have to do things like that. Look at this, Ethan Vance, she said, suddenly holding out her phone to me. Huh? I questioned, taking the phone. On the screen was a gallery of photos, stunning shots of Interlaken's landscapes, architectural details, local textures, reference photos, undeniably for a game setting. There were places that I wanted to look at too, Ethan Vance, Seraphina admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I was able to gather a bunch of reference data, thanks to you. A genuine, almost shy smile touched her lips for the first time since I'd known her. Thank you, Ethan. You're thinking about your work on your day off, Seraphina Dubois, I thought, touched by this unexpected display of vulnerability, of gratitude. You're so stupid, I murmured, half jokingly, half affectionately. No more than you are, she retorted, her voice regaining a hint of its usual sharpness, but without the sting. Can I? I stammered, completely caught off guard by this sudden, almost normal, almost friendly interaction. Oh. Seriously, Ethan Vance, Seraphina sighed, rolling her eyes, but without any real annoyance. You're always coincidentally at wherever I am, aren't you? Well, I shrugged, trying to play it cool, despite my heart doing a chaotic tap dance in my chest. I just wanted to get some fresh air, Seraphina Dubois. You too, Nagumo-san? I deliberately used her family name, a subtle test, a gentle tease. A barely perceptible blush crept up her neck, disappearing beneath the collar of her shirt. Yeah, she mumbled, avoiding eye contact again. Something like that. Silence descended, a softer, less tense silence than before. And then Lily-chan, bless her innocent, meddling heart, broke the quiet with a question that had been simmering, unspoken, between Seraphina and me for hours. So, Mommy, Lily began, her voice hesitant, almost shy, do you like Ethan Vance? Time seemed to stop. The bustling sounds of Interlaken faded into a muffled background hum. All sound, all reality, seemed to compress into the space between Seraphina and me, into the weight of Lily-chan's innocent, impossibly loaded question. Seraphina froze, her face paling, then flushing crimson again. She stared at Lily, then at me, her ice-blue eyes wide with a mixture of shock, mortification, and something else. Don't say things like that, Lily, Seraphina hissed, her voice barely above a whisper. Out of nowhere. You caught me off guard. I did, Lily asked, her brow furrowed in innocent confusion. I don't know where you got that misunderstanding, Lily, Seraphina stammered, her gaze darting nervously between Lily and me. But that's absolutely not true. Really? Yeah, Lily persisted, her childlike skepticism unwavering. You have shifty eyes, though, Mommy. Everyone's eyes are shifty, Lily. They're normal, Seraphina protested, her voice rising in pitch, teetering on the edge of panic. Besides, she added, attempting to regain some semblance of composure, it'll only trouble Ethan Vance, Lily. If someone like me likes him, right? I'm fully aware of that, Lily. And I know my place, Lily. Lily looked at me, then back at her mother, her brow still furrowed with confusion. Ah, she said, her voice small and uncertain. What are you saying, Mommy? Seraphina's carefully constructed facade finally crumbled. Her shoulders slumped, her voice softened, losing all pretense of professional crispness, revealing a raw vulnerability I'd never witnessed before. I'll be happy, Ethan Vance, she whispered, her gaze finally meeting mine, her ice blue eyes shimmering with a depth of emotion that took my breath away. Huh, I breathed, my voice barely audible. Because, she continued, her voice trembling, because I like you too, Ethan Vance. I'd be so happy if we felt the same way about each other. Like, you like me? Yes. Silence descended again, but this time it was different. Not tense, not awkward, but heavy with unspoken emotions, thick with the weight of a confession years in the making. And then, Seraphina Dubois, my fierce, unyielding, terrifying boss, did something completely unexpected. She laughed. A short, breathless, almost hysterical laugh. Stop messing around with me, Seraphina Dubois. I managed to say, my voice still shaky, disbelieving. Why would you even like someone like me? Let me ask you a question too, Ethan Vance, she countered, her voice regaining a hint of its familiar strength, but now laced with a newfound vulnerability. Why are you belittling yourself so much, Ethan Vance? That's Because I began faltering, struggling to articulate the years of ingrained self-doubt, the constant feeling of inadequacy under her critical gaze. Because you can tell just by looking at me, Seraphina Dubois, can't you? I'm not someone who deserves to be with others. What? Seraphina interrupted sharply, her brow furrowed again, this time with a different kind of intensity. Concern. Worry. I have extremely strong preferences, Seraphina. I continued, the words tumbling out now, a dam finally breaking. And I don't know how to compromise with others. I can't empathize with other people. I'm just a selfish human. That's the reason Lily-chan doesn't have a father, too. It's all my fault. Seraphina's eyes widened again, this time with shock and pity. Understanding? From how to clean the apartment to the nutrition of our meals. I rushed on, the words pouring out in a torrent of self-deprecation, self-accusation. I would push my opinion through for everything, no matter what it was. He couldn't put up with that. There's no way he could have Seraphina Dubois. Because I never tried to compromise with him. But, I admitted, a flicker of defiant pride surfacing amidst the self-pity. There was a part of me that didn't want to compromise too. I kind of understood where she was coming from. I added almost to myself. She was probably... I couldn't forgive having a single piece of trash on the ground, so that our newborn daughter could safely crawl around anywhere. I wanted to be picky with nutrition, and we ate so that our entire family could be healthy and live longer. Her family was probably that important to her. She got too obsessive because they were that important. Seraphina was silent, listening intently, her gaze unwavering, her expression unreadable. I don't know how to make compromises, Seraphina Dubois. I concluded, my voice barely above a whisper. I get super specific and over-obsessed whenever I get into something. That's why being with someone like me would be nothing other than a burden. Is that what you think, Seraphina Dubois? Seraphina remained silent for a long moment, her gaze still locked on mine, her expression shifting, evolving, from shock to sympathy to something else? Something warmer, something softer. What do you mean, Ethan Vance? She finally asked, her voice low, gentle, unlike anything I'd ever heard from her before. You must have constantly felt uncomfortable because of me too, right, Ethan? Each time that you worked hard to present a proposal, all I could do was turn it down. I couldn't even compliment you on it. That's fine, though, I mumbled, dismissing her concern, minimizing my own feelings as always. Seraphina breathed, a small smile touching her lips again, a genuine, warm smile this time. I see. Ethan Vance. You're amazing, Ethan Vance, you know that? The gummo, she trailed off, then corrected herself. You're thinking through everything properly, Ethan Vance. Yes, it's true, she continued, her voice gaining strength again, conviction, but now laced with a newfound tenderness. That she was super strict, Ethan. There were many moments that I almost broke down from her pinpointing things. But her feedback was so specific, Ethan, that it wouldn't be possible to respond like that without reading through my entire proposal page by page. And most importantly, Ethan, she said, her voice dropping to a near whisper, she's right. It'll be fun like this. Even more fun. She was constantly filled with even more passion than me. Ethan Vance, Seraphina confessed, her gaze softening, her ice blue eyes melting into something almost sapphire. Passion to create something more exciting. Your piggy has punched me in the back many times, Ethan Vance. My piggy, I echoed, completely lost. There are times that my back courage from those punches, and it gets hard sometimes. But, she continued, her voice regaining its strength, its conviction. The fact is, Ethan Vance, that you've been pushing me forward, Ethan Vance. It's true that you don't like compromising with others, Ethan. To some people, you might be someone they want to distance themselves from. But instead of trying to match your steps, Ethan, she said, meeting my gaze directly, her eyes shining with an intensity that both thrilled and terrified me. There are some people who want to follow in your footsteps too, Ethan Vance. Ethan Vance, she whispered, her voice barely audible, trembling with emotion. You're right, Ethan Vance. You've hung on. No matter how many times I said harsh things to you. That's why excuse me. And then Seraphina Dubois, my fierce, unyielding, impossibly complex boss, did the most unexpected thing of all. She smiled. A genuine, breathtaking, heart-stopping smile that transformed her entire face, softening her sharp angles, revealing a warmth, a vulnerability, a beauty I'd never even glimpsed before. Why are you smirking, Ethan Vance? She asked, her voice regaining a hint of its playful edge. Oh, I replied, my own smile widening, mirroring hers. Nothing, Seraphina Dubois. I was just thinking about how you were finally going to tell me that you like me. Seraphina rolled her eyes, but the smile remained, softening the usual sharpness of her gaze. Don't get ahead of yourself, Ethan Vance, she retorted, but there was no real bite in her voice, only a playful teasing tone. It's true that I like you, Ethan Vance, but it's not like I've decided I want to be in a relationship with you, Ethan Vance. What? Because after all, she continued, her voice dropping again, becoming serious, almost melancholic. I'm your supervisor, Ethan Vance. And I have a daughter too, Ethan Vance. I'm not someone who can just casually date someone young like you, Ethan Vance. Yeah, I conceded, my own smile fading slightly. You probably shouldn't. You can't fall for someone like me, Seraphina Dubois. I see. Disappointment, a sharp, unexpected pang, pierced through the burgeoning hope in my chest. It seems like you don't properly understand the extent of my resolve and feelings yet, Ethan Vance. Seraphina said, her voice suddenly regaining its familiar, determined edge. In that case, Ethan Vance, all I can do is keep trying to get your attention, Ethan Vance. What? Until you approve my project proposal, Ethan Vance? A playful glint returned to her ice blue eyes, a spark of challenge, a hint of something deeper, something more intimate. Promise to make Seraphina Dubois the happiest woman in the world, Ethan Vance? She finished, her voice dropping to a husky whisper, her gaze locking with mine, holding a silent promise, a daring invitation. My heart leaped, my pulse quickened, hope surged, overwhelming doubt, fear, disbelief. Just kidding, Seraphina added, instantly deflating my rising euphoria. Nope. Denied. What? I sputtered, completely bewildered again. What do you mean, Seraphina Dubois? What? Seraphina's lips curved into a wide, mischievous grin. What? The scenario was good, Ethan Vance. But you're too naive about the worldview. Ethan Vance. You've completely burned out of ideas after the scenario. Ethan Vance. Are we doing? Please do it, Ethan Vance. I know you can do it, Ethan Vance. She mimicked her own demanding, relentless critique, but this time, her voice was light, teasing, full of affection. Affection? For me? Seraphina Dubois? Affection? You accepted my previous love letter without making a single complaint, though, Seraphina Dubois. I retorted, emboldened by the shift in her demeanor, by the impossible, exhilarating, dawning possibility of love. Shut up, Ethan Vance, Seraphina said, her cheeks flushing crimson again. But this time, it was a blush of genuine embarrassment, of shy happiness. Mommy, Lily Chan piped up, interrupting our charge, bewildering, utterly wonderful near confession. Mommy has a lot more mold collections, Ethan Vance, other than just your hand. She also. Seraphina's hand flew to cover Lily's mouth, silencing her before she could reveal any more of her mother's peculiar affections. Seraphina Dubois glared at Lily, then at me, her eyes wide, a mixture of mortification and something else? Hope? Excitement? And in that moment, amidst the breathtaking scenery of the Swiss Alps, on a train journey that had started as a solo escape and morphed into something utterly, unexpectedly, wonderfully complicated, I realized with dawning certainty. This was just the beginning. The beginning of a very, very interesting and potentially very, very happy chapter in my life. All thanks to a train, a boss who didn't hate me, and her daughter. Cupid in disguise.